Welcome, folks. Welcome back. This is Edge2 Gaming / Edge2 Otaku. And what I mean by that, while you continue to take down these socials, is your place for anime, manga, video games, breakdowns, whether it is weekly, bi-weekly, films, OVAs, openings, endings. This is the place for it. I, Elijah 5000, the man who's watched over 5,000 anime, are here to take you on a journey. And today it's One Piece, but you can also find this streaming everywhere. Edge2 Gaming, except for YouTube. There's 2 YouTube channels. Go and support now. Go and subscribe. One is Edge2 Otaku. That's all your anime and manga. Edge2 Gaming is all video gaming that isn't and doesn't have anything to do with anime or manga. So very simple. Now we're here, chapter 1191. We did not get full spoilers this week, but we got the TCB scans, and I'm going to read them here for you and describe the chapter, because this is one hell of a chapter with Imu transforming. This is our third, 1, 2, 3, 4th form that we've seen with Imu. And if we look at the Harley, it depicts another form. So it looks like Imu's going to get another power upgrade, which means the Straw Hats and Luffy have to. So for those who are saying there's no Gear 6, we can't see another Gear 6, Luffy should just be doing this. Luffy's got a ways to go. He's got some new shit to do. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get in chapter 1191, titled Loki is Here. The chapter starts off, Luffy wounded in the fierce battle with Imu, and he's doubled over on the ground, and you can kind of see color coming back to his clothes. He goes, how am I still alive right now? He starts to get up and kind of stumbles. One sandal on, 1 foot bare as fuck. He says, if I change back to normal, it'll be bad. And we see the camera pans out on Elbaph, and we see the branch that Luffy is stumbling towards a beat down Scopper Gaban. He's, hey, old man, Gramps. And Scopper is laying on his back, trembling. He's like, damn it. He got an arm. And Luffy goes, sorry, you took that attack from me. And Scopper on the ground, blood behind his back, says, don't be stupid. I didn't do it for you, for a disappointment like you. I'm fighting for Elbaph. And then we zoom in and see Scopper laying there. He's like, there's no way I'm letting it in like this. And then Luffy on his back, blood, staining the white form. He says, Gramps, what is he? Scopper sits up and is tying off his arm with the bandage. You see blood pouring on the ground, on the giant branch underneath him of Elbaph. Again, Scopper is giving his body, his soul, his blood for Elbaph, for his family, for his new home. And he says, well, his true nature, as he tightens it up and he cinches one more time, seems to be a big secret. And Luffy's sitting there just with a question mark laying on his back. Scopper continues, but if I had to put a word on it, I'd say, and then it shows Realm of the Dead, the underworld, and it says he's God, because remember, Scopper Gaban hit with his Gates of God attack, divine gates or Gates of God, and knocked him to the underworld, and Imu crashed into a mountain. He is sitting at the top of the mountain, and we see a wolf and a big-ass panda bear. They're growling, they're sitting there, and all of a sudden, Haki comes out of nowhere, and knocks them out from the mountain. Crackle, crackle. And we saw that when the branches were cut in half by Scopper Gaban's Haki, when they landed, and we can see them off in the background, they crush mountaintops. Imu destroys the mountaintop that he's on. The giant panda, the wolf, hit their back in the snow. Thud. And we see crackle as Imu lays there. He said the Pirate King's crew still laying on his back. Blood coming from underneath his horn, down his eye, down his cheek, blood from his nose. He goes, 'twas foreseeable that those youths from God Valley would become such a nuisance. And he brings his hand up into the sky, and we see a line drawn from the form to a circle in the middle of his palm. Imu continues as snow falls. I ought to have dealt with them along with rocks back then. Thank you, thank you. What's up, Nam, for the emote, the 30 bits. Always appreciated. Hell yes. We appreciate all that. If you guys want to join in on the Bit Fest, go right ahead. Nam has led the way. Let's dive back into this chapter. We see, as he says, along with rocks, he goes back then, and his hand grows in size and is shrouded in black with black claws. We see flame heat coming from his body. Then we see a dark shadow looking like Mr. Five-Time himself, Booker T, hand on the ground. And there's some black sphere coming around his forearm, kind of like the black sphere that we see where his weapons are drawn from. His horns get longer and curve and turn back. Wings sprout from his back. And then we see the depths of the soulless being himself, Saint Nerona Imu, sitting there, big-ass horns coming out of his head. Lines still etched on his face, smoke from the mouth. The blood is gone and the eyes have no fucks left to give. He looks up at the sun world where he just came from, and whoosh, he jettisons, cracking the mountain underneath him, black flames erupting out of it. And then Oda does this. He takes us to the Owl Library, Realm of the Sun, basement rear entrance. So now we're at the back of the library. Our boy Chopper, Tony Chopper, says, "Thank goodness those books are okay." And Robin says, "Yes, it's all thanks to Biblo." And then Jaguar D. Saul himself comes over and he's looking. He's like, "Chopper, I want you to try." And I recently heard the voice of Jaguar D. Saul because I've watched One Piece in Japanese, but I delve into the dub, and they gave Saul this kind of weird accent, so we're gonna do it. He said, "Chopper, I want you to try and talk to him. He sure looks like he's trying to tell us something, but." And then Chopper says, standing next to Robin on a stool, looking up at big-ass Biblo, who is bigger than Saul, or damn near bigger than Saul. And Saul's missing one leg, so, Biblo's got a couple pounds on him. Chopper says, "Really? He struck me as the silent type." And then Biblo goes, "Hoot, hoot, hoot." And then Chopper exclaims, he's like, Biblo continues as he stares down at Chopper. "Hoot, hoot, 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 hoot." And Chopper goes, "Huh?" Then we cut back to the underside of the branch where Imu was knocked the fuck down by the man himself, Scopper Gaban. We see crackling come up from the underworld. The branches are shaking and quivering as the hockey comes. And then Gaban and Luffy fall over. They are being subjugated as fuck by this supreme cock that Imu has. And Imu lands on the branch and shit is bending to his fucking will. We get our first look at Imu, and Imu doesn't even land. Imu is hovering over the branch and is bending because of the hockey. Imu has big ass fucking wings, being bigger than King's wings. Both of his arms have turned black here. His chest is still what I imagine to be a deep brown or a red with white dots everywhere. He has 3 snake skulls, it looks like, with horns on them, almost similar to Tot Magica from One Piece Red, and also the ancient ogre giants. We see the midriff that was on his waist has pulled up, covering half of his abs. The little kilt, whatever the fuck he's wearing, has kind of hemmed up a little bit. We see this motherfucker's wearing some knee-high boots, all black, with his claws black, holding the Hanabane sword, the Bone Eater sword, claws. But around both of his arms are swirling black rings, and around his thigh area region we got a swirling black ring, no longer on his back. The only thing back there are flames coming off his wings and a pointed tail, with the hair luscious as fuck, looking like white flames. Imu sits there, eyes watching, with a contract on his arm. Now the signature for this coven, I think these are the 3 contracts he gives everybody. He's in the second one right now because he had his human form, and now it seems that contract has changed. I can only expect that the next contract is going to be more detailed. But right now, if you look at it, it is a circle with like a plus sign made out of bones. And then if you were to use this bone and make within that top sphere, cut it in half, almost like Luffy's straw hat and the sash across it. Then it's got 2 horns coming out of the side. That is the current contract. We will see it this Sunday when I do the live read and bring this the official scans up for you guys. But we see him hovering, and he says to escape from Hanabami with only an arm lost. How impressive, as he continues to talk to Scopper Gaban. And then we see the world around him kind of sink just a little bit more. And then Scopper says, "That's my line," as Hockey is just crackling. He says, "You walking off my attack is a blow to my ego and my rep." And then Scopper is just standing straight up. Luffy's still on the ground. He says, "Not that I've got the hands to applaud you." And Imu says that this next attack will leave nothing behind. Luffy's laying on the ground, pissed off, still trying to move, still trying to recover. He's like, "Is that man? He looks totally different." And Scopper says, "Listen up, Straw Hat. Get your crew and leave Elbaph." And like, no fucking pause at all. And the motherfucking captain, he has always been, Luffy coughs. He says, "There's no way I'm doing that." And then Scopper says, "You better, you barely." And Scopper's standing up. He's holding 1 axe right now. Let me remind you, arm is tied off, holding 1 axe, ready to take on Imu yet again. He says, "You're barely better than a corpse at this point. You can't help us." And Luffy's still screaming on his belly with his hands behind him. The only thing that he's moving is his mouth. He says, "I could say the same to you. How can you fight like that?" And Imu don't give a fuck. Imu's like, "Dude, I had to fly up here after you done whoop my ass." Hanabame! And he is getting ready to lunge. Black flame snakes coming off the sword. And right before he hits Scopper Gaban, Scopper erupts with some Haki from his axe as he crosses his chest. And then we hear Scopper telling Luffy, "It's no use." And Luffy says, "Run, Gramps." And right before the strike, we see a foot come into play. Imu snaps and looks to the left, and Gungar, bam, he is belted by our boy, the fallen giant himself, the one that got one-shotted by Gear second, but joined the Grand Fleet and praised God Usopp, and now is back on Elbaph and was like, "I'm about to fuck up my baby brother, even though he's 70 feet taller than me." Our man, one of the sons of King Harold, Haruden, comes in with his shield, bam, and blasts Imu. Luffy looks over, "Haruden," and he goes, "Ugh," with a gap in his tooth, still missing a tooth. But Imu's face has not only a shield, but fists behind it, bending his horn, bending his face. Let me do it this way. It's easier this way. Bending his body over. He pushes the, and Scopper Gaban is like, "Damn, boy, you doing me proud. I didn't know you was coming. I thought this was going to be like my last strike, but you got him." And then, without missing a beat, as he's trying to push Imu, Imu has a little Maki sign with a floating flame smiling. It goes whoosh. And as Haruden like digs deep, curls his fist and puts all of his strength in his arm and his biceps. You see the veins popping out. He presses and gets friction off the floor. He boom swings with his right arm, and Imu flies. But as Imu is flying back, like he did with Loki, he has his hands up in Maki position, and he flings 3 flames at Haruden. Haruden knocks him straight into the wall. The flames hit him. Boom. It's almost like a double fucking KO. We see Imu again embedded into the wall, damn near deeper than what Loki did with Ragnar. And he's sitting there, head drooped forward, down, staring at Dick, and that's it. Haruden, on the other hand, brought up his shield at the last second. Whoosh. And his shield cracks and crumbles as he blocked all 3 of Imu's Maki flames, but sent Imu flying into the fucking wall. And Haruden says, "There's no taking that a sec." Oh, he said, "There's no taking that a second time." Huff, as he's breathing heavy. Then he bends down and he says, "Yasun, how could this happen to you? And Mr. Yasun himself, Scopper, says, "I've lost an arm." He says, "You've lost an arm at the same time." He says, "Thanks for the assist, Haruden." Then Scopper continues, "But this guy's immortal. I can't see any of us winning this. Make sure Straw Hat Luffy gets out of here." And as Haruden is looking, he says, "Straw Hat," and Luffy is throwing a fit on his back. still beat up. He says, "You don't have to butt in." He's like, "I'm not going to run." And Scopper turns around and says, "Listen to me. What could you do with those wounds?" And Luffy is just struggling, willing himself. He's like, "I'm going to recover now." And he's just mad as fuck, looking up at the sky, blood coming out of his mouth. And Scopper's like, "That's nuts." And he says, "I ate a lot. I can make it happen." And Scopper's looking at him. He says, "What kind of logic is that? You can't fight anymore." And Luffy's like pumping his feet to, I guess, pump reserve food in his belly up to his mouth so he could chew it. But as he does this, 3 flames start spiraling towards him. Luffy looks over and says, "Hey, it's a bomb." Haruden scoops up Luffy, who's fat now, so all the food that he had in his body is fattening up. He goes, "Whoa," on Scopper, and then Haruden is hit in the back, boom, 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 by the 3 fucking Maki bombs, all on his cloak, back on fire, and you hear them scream, "Haruden!" He goes, "Ah!" as he yells, and is still protecting his boy Straw Hat Luffy and Scopper Gaban, aka Yasan. Then Imu is up in the air flying, and Haruden says he's back. And Scopper says, "Haruden, fall back. Live to fight another day." And Imu just sits there, because Imu's got like a little pointy goatee now, too. Smooth face, pointy goatee, Fire Lord Orzan type shit. And Haruden looks at Scopper Gaban, takes his coat off that's on fire. He says, "Yeah, son, Elbaph won't bend the knee. A true warrior is always resolved to die in battle." And then Scopper, as always, like he was telling Roger, he's like, "Moron, consider the fallout of your death." Haruden sits there. He says, "It's okay if I die. Loki is here." And then we see Loki running in the background towards Haruden. And then he goes, "Well said, brother, Loki." And then Loki says, "Get ready." And Imu is just standing, hovering in the sky, looking at him. And then Luffy is finished eating. Gasp! Boom! And he brings up his big ass arms. Body's still bloody, but he's got muscle. He's like, "I'm almost back on my feet." And then Scopper says, "What in the world are you guys?" And Luffy starts, "Gamu Gamu." Imu looks at him. And then we see Haruden pull back with his right arm. Loki pulled back with Ragnar on his left arm. 3 generals, and we see all 3 of them. Luffy just pulling hands back, look like a pistol. Haruden gritting his teeth, Loki gritting his teeth, and Imu making a hand sign like this, looking at the 3. And then they say, "Gokoku sovereignty." 3 generals strike as they rain down on Imu. Imu cannot even be seen in the panel. We just see the 3 strikes infused with the 2 sons of Elbaph and the Nika himself, or the Joy Boy of this time, Luffy's technique, counterattack to Imu. So that is this week's TCB scans for One Piece. We will see on Sunday what the official translations say, what we can make of this, because some of the stuff didn't make too much sense. You can put it together. I'm not gonna do any predictions because Scopper is just holding the fort down, and we're getting to see he made after fighting Luffy, Loki, Scopper, Scopper being the main one to fucking push Imu back. Imu had to step it up to another tier. So Imu got beat in Gunko, had to come to Elbaph in the real body. Loki, Luffy, and Scopper giving them trouble, had to transform and power up right now. And all 3, like Luffy, Loki, and Scopper Gaban are on death's door. Haruden got beat kind of, but he's had a little bit more time to recover. So I'm going to say he's got the most reserve, but is his hockey as strong as Loki and Ragnar, Luffy in the white form, or Scopper Gaban? Because Scopper Gaban still had enough to fucking injure Imu in this form and send him from the Sun World to the Underworld. And Imu's like, fuck this. He had to power up, get a little bit bigger. And we're also getting some information from Biblo, all the hoots, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hoots. This has got to be some good information. One either about Imu or about Elbaph and the Harley. For Nami, and Frankie and the rest of those guys to do with Gunko, but also for Nico Robin to help instruct the guys, because I think this is where Nico Robin and Saul are really going to put in the work, because she's a historian, she's an archaeologist, she has paid her dues, and right now they're trying to figure out what they need to do and how to really help everybody that's on Elbaph. Other than that, we have Imu, and Imu was taking it to him, Imu is now getting beat by our 3. They're showing him that there is resolve. Luffy's not giving up no matter what. He has not powered down from his white form. He actually added extra food to his reserves to make sure that he still had power to come back in the fight, or he knew he was going to die. So the only thing left is, like, can Hiruden match them? Loki, how much has Loki recovered? He got treated by Gerd, and what is him and Ragnar going to do? Because Ragnar... Whatever Ragnar freezes, we know that Imu can't break. So if they freeze Imu here, he can't break out. They're all trying to fight him and defeat him, but Scalper Gaban's like, you're not going to. So that may be the best option for them. But we'll see on Sunday when we get the official translation and we get to read this and see these techniques that Imu's using. He's not really talking much, but as soon as he is attacked, there's a counterattack there with Maki. We also want to see what he says about Scalper Gaban and the Roger Pirates, eliminating them with rocks. And then why is Luffy fighting so much? How is he recovering? If it's even really hinted on, or this is just Luffy stored in his body, he's regurgitating it back up. That's going to happen. But also the exclamation between Hiruden and Loki is also going to lead to what's going to happen to Elbaph after this. Are they both going to leave to pursue Imu? Are they both going to reign and try to prepare Elbaph for Imu later on? Or is Loki going to join the Straw Hat Grand Fleet like Hiruden did? And will that lead to success in them actually winning this war that is shown on the Harley? There's so much here on Elbaph we still have to figure out, because remember, we haven't seen Vegapunk. Vegapunk found not only the robot, but the house with whatever mysteries and technology it had in there. Also, anything that has to do with the Harley is going to lead to further information exploration of Elbaph. All the Straw Hats need to get stronger. But outside of that, we need the story of the War God. We also need the stuff we're getting from Biblo now about the books, what Biblo's power is, because Biblo's always watched over the library. So there's something there. Were they a member of Joy Boy's crew? Are they on punishment in Elbaph? Is this sanctuary on Elbaph? Is this a person? Why is Morgan's always in his bird form? It's questions like these that are going to pop up, but there's still a lot of things that we need to learn from Elbaph before we leave here. But the number one deal is staying in Elbaph too long. How does it adversely injure or hurt a person there? Is it for Imu, or is it something else? Is the daily lives and the things in our world, or in the world where Blackbeard and them are they expedited? Is it 3 days to 1, 3 days to a week to, what is the time frame? Because Harold and the Giants age differently, and we have had this hinted multiple times. So that being said, these are the TCB scans for chapter 1191 of One Piece. Let me know what your thoughts and theories are, or if you're waiting for Sunday's live read. But we do also have the next soccer gauntlet champion. I will do a video on that. I just have to go back and recreate the gauntlet structure. Lost that, so now that is what this coding work is happening. It's taking a little bit of time, but we'll be back and get on it. It is a 39 episode anime. Not a lot of people have seen it, but I've heard it's pretty good, so I can't wait to get in that with you. Go ahead, turn on notifications, make sure that you are subscribed wherever you are. Subscribing to the YouTube channels helps, and make sure that all the content goes to Patreon. Patreon has some kind of issue now with its links with Streamlabs, so we're having to do that separate. TikTok is iffy, so those two will be separate until I get that worked out. But making sure you have notifications turned on keeps you in the loop for any type of streaming, whether it's the Pod OKC, the Reacher streams, the anime live streams, One Piece coverage, or video game Time Chamber Tuesday shit. Make sure to have notifications on. And if you have Amazon Prime, do like I do like my friends do, like Nam himself. Go support a stream that you have, because Amazon Prime gives you a free sub every single month, and it is September, so streams are even cheaper than normal. But if you have a free one, why not use it? If you don't know who to use it on, why not on this stream? And if you already are subbing to the stream, go below. Any of the channels that you see listed below are friends. Go and sub to their channel to help support and keep the community growing. Thank you guys. I'm Elijah 5000, and I will catch you next time on Edge2 Otaku / Edge2 Gaming right here for One Piece. Remember, Sunday 6 p.m. for the latest chapter. We do it later because I listen and get more contextual nuance from actual Japanese speakers that are native and listen not only to the anime but also read One Piece and can actually translate things that are non-transferable. Now, you'll understand more of that when we get to the podcast on Sunday, when I go ahead and dive into that like I always do, and I link them in the description. If you're looking for the full spoilers, I did not get full spoilers this week from Pew Piece. These are the TCB scans. I will not give you the link to the TCB scans because sometimes it does not work. I had issues getting back to the one that I was using. There are several different translators and scanslations that do these. We will just give you what I do on Sunday, which is Shonen Jumps. Other than that, thank you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.